This is Hidden Killers Live with Tony Bruschi, Stacey Cole, and Todd Michaels.
Oh, we have a lot to go over today. Adelson's, of course, we're going to dive into that. This is the day Donna is going to decide whether or not to testify. We'll talk about that. We'll also take a look at some testimony from a jailhouse snitch that says she almost got a grand piano out of Donna. You know, it's a little bartering that, you don't expect to do in prison, but, Donna's got the goods. So we'll do that. We'll take a look at Donna's best friend's testimony on the stand, which I don't know that it did a whole lot for Donna, but we'll talk about that. Also going to be talking with Jennifer Coffindaffer today about Harvey and Wendy Adelson. What sort of future might be held for them after Donna is found guilty or innocent, in the far chance that that happens. And then Siobhan Scott's going to be joining us, psychotherapist and author, and we're going to go into the world of family enmeshment, which essentially is the Adelson family. Is it good? Is it bad? Why do so many people keep coming back for more? We're going to talk about all that in the second hour of the program. But be sure to press subscribe wherever you're listening to us or watching us, so you don't miss us every day. And in the comments section, be sure to let us know your thoughts, your questions, and we'll try to get to them throughout the program today. But first, we're going to start with some new breaking news. Brian Kohberger, there's a new detail that has come out that's not going to be just floating away from our radar. It's not about the crime itself, but what was happening in his private conversations right after. And when you hear it, you can't really help but ask what exactly was going on here. So the night after the murders, Brian's mother, they're talking, as they have been. As you know, Brian Kohberger and mom are pretty tight. They were talking the morning of the murders, right after, for several hours. And then throughout the day later, he was on the phone with her constantly while he was in jail. But this is an interesting one. The night after the murders, Brian's mother sent him a news article. It was a link, not just any article. And I don't know how odd this is. That's why I'm curious to get everyone's reaction on it. This one spelled out how Xana Kernodle had bruises all over her body and how she had fought back against the attacker. That's what was being alleged in that article. Think about this for a second. Mom sending her son a link to the story about the brutal murder may be normal. I can kind of understand that. But does it land a little differently while the two of them are already on the phone together? Obviously, she probably doesn't know that, Lil Bry is the one behind it. But does it strike you as normal? Let's just start there in casual conversation that mom would be sending Brian, links to this horrible crime. It did happen where he's at. So is it strange on that level? Let's start there.
Well, it's odd. Now, I say that as we have an audience of people who love true crime.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It has to do with the area that he was in. It was a huge news story. So yeah, that could make sense. But then if you turn it on its side and go, wait a minute, that's some really unusual banter between a mom and a son, I think.
Well, it depends, I guess, on the relationship. What's unusual? If you and your mom talk about true, if you talk about
it, mother, and
if you're,
like they had a relationship.
If you're into that topic,
yeah.
What's weird about talking about that topic? Yeah, her son turned out to be the killer, but I don't see it as being that out there. When, for example, Devil's Den, that occurred here, where the monster went into the woods and killed the husband and wife recently, and we were covering that quite heavily. Before they found the killer, my mom's, sending me, articles about it and stuff, and I'm letting her know, sending her what I'm reporting about it. So, we talk about those sort of things somewhat. We don't dive into every case. If I said Karen Reed, you'd probably have no idea what I'm talking about. But I don't know. From that dynamic, I don't know that it's that weird. But the topics I talk about sometimes with my mom and my parents, I know are kind of odd.
Yeah, but look at what you do for a living. You are the
Yeah.
exception. I mean, well, but he's a criminology student. So again,
is it odd? I don't know. I mean, look, I remember when I was a kid going into the radio station and telling Todd some of the conversations I had with my mom, and Todd would be like,
huh? Wait, what's going on there?
And in true Todd fashion, I remember none of that. So
no, you blocked it out is what happened.
yes.
Yeah. But yeah. I don't know how odd that is on the surface, but that's gotta be a weird one to have to try and, comb through all this time later. Yeah. You've got to be looking at everything that he said to you on those phone calls and going, what does it mean? What was he saying? I mean, it gets even stranger right after that, their conversation, her texts the next morning to him. And this is interesting. And this is all from some of the criminologists and some of the folks who were digging into the Cellbrite data. And this is what they were telling Ashley last night on Banfield on News Nation, that her messages veer into coffee beans, a line about a sweet girl working at a coffee shop, totally disconnected from the weight of what they had just been talking about. It does appear that there might be some pieces to this conversation that are missing. As we know, he was deleting things, but what we do have is her communication to him, not necessarily his out or what they had spoken of. So, I mean, it kind of leans a little bit towards, well, it looks like they had been having some sort of conversation about some girl he thought maybe was cute that worked at the coffee shop.
Well, and remember, we've talked about the barista who had a close run-in with him.
Yep.
So what part of that conversation's missing here, where he's obsessing over this woman who knows nothing about him?
Yeah. And he's talking to mom about her.
Yeah. And you don't talk to mom about somebody unless things are cooking, I guess, Or I wouldn't think, but we don't know the dynamic either.
Yeah, what's odd about it is that both the topics, the bruises all over the victim's body, okay, that is something that, from my understanding, he might really enjoy talking about because of what he's into. I mean, we know that about him. Yeah. And then the coffee part of it and the barista and all that, it's just, if you just look at it by itself, if you didn't know everything that went down in that situation, you'd be like, just conversation, little weird, but this was like, it was almost feeding him to me.
He seems to have very few modes of what he talks about and what he goes on. I mean, it's interesting as we learn more about him. He enjoys talking about knives and knife sheaths, as we know that he loved, like, just randomly talking to the woman at the hotel about that in the hallway. He likes to talk about the coffee and the girl at the coffee shop. It's very narrow obsessions that he goes on, which goes with the autism. That's a lot of that sort of thinking. You do get more narrowly focused on things, but he seems to have no way of functioning outside of it. Like, he needs somebody to trip him up and go, okay, Brian, next thing, next step, let's keep moving here. Because he really gets onto that. I'd be really curious. I'd love to know from that mom, what was that conversation like about the bruising, and I hate gory details. I do not like talking about them. We don't show the pictures. We don't do any of that shit because I don't think it adds to the story. But what I am curious about is that conversation. Was he excited? Did that perk Brian up to sit there and talk about, well, I think this might have happened or that might have happened? The way that Papa Roger character came out online and said, well, I think this, and seemed to have knowledge beyond what was in the current publishings of the moment. If mom could look back and say, well, how did he know that?
Well, but don't forget too, and I'm not defending Brian Kohberger. Please don't ever put me in that category. But being a criminology student, this is his arena. This is where he thrives. This is where he's studying this. So I remember in the days of, when I went into radio, everything music was talked about with me, like, oh, we should talk to her about that. Or when I went into veterinary medicine, like, oh, here's this really weird case that, was in the paper for some reason. Or so people gravitate toward those topics. Maybe that was just a innocuous, hey,
he's into that.
Yeah.
He's going to school for that. Let's talk about something that maybe interests him.
And again, you brought up the autism. I've been doing some reading about Temple Grandin. Very, very amazing human being. But she talks about how people on the spectrum, their thoughts aren't linear. They're just very segmented and all over the place. And to people who are not on the spectrum, it looks very odd. Incredibly odd, but to them that's a normal day. Yeah. So from our perspective, not being on the spectrum, it's really disconcerting to see this journey that they take to get through a topic.
Well, especially when the topics are very off, when they're
exactly.
That's
If he were not a criminology student and he went into great detail about, what happened at this crime and really was digging into the details, I would be very alarmed. But he has that degree. So to me, it's like, it's just another day at the office.
What does it say though about like that his mom is the one he's turning to constantly after these horrific things? He literally just killed 4 people, and now he's if you read the tea leaves, he's talking about the cute girl at the coffee shop, which we now know he had some sort of interaction with that made her uncomfortable. It makes you wonder, he's already, the fact that he's able to sit there and think about another human being in any sort of like, maybe I'll date her sort of way after just murdering 4 people. It makes you wonder. I wonder how much in code he spoke to his mom. I wonder how much, gazing at the stars meant something else other than it seems to mean. If he was speaking in certain ways of, I got a crush on this girl, or I like this girl, is more like I'm going to stalk her type. And I've been staring at her outside her window, Mom. She likes Pantene Pro V. Do you like Pantene Pro V, Mom? I want to buy it. I want to smell it. That sort of creepiness.
Maybe he didn't have the capability. It sounds like I'm defending Kohberger. Stop me. I'm not.
We know you're a pro burger.
No, I'm not. I'm honest to God, I'm not. But I'm, again, doing more reading on this. He does not connect with other people on an emotional level. He does not know how. And not that he couldn't learn, but I think it's really difficult. And I just don't think he had the fostering environment for that to occur. So he doesn't relate to people. He makes people feel very uncomfortable with the interactions. And I just don't think he has a lot of friends. So Mom's always going to be there.
He doesn't know how to navigate people.
Right.
That's his thing. That's a very hard thing with autism too, because you don't naturally know how to do it. So it's like a lot of learned type behavior, but he doesn't seem to value that lesson. And if he doesn't value that lesson, he just continues to hit his head against a brick wall, never going, maybe that's a lesson I should pick up on because it might help me get from point A to point B. But he's always just like hitting up against the wall. I don't know why nobody wants to talk. Like, well, that's you. Another interesting piece of that reporting about those letters, or beyond the reporting that he was talking about with his mom and that letter that she sent to him. He sent some letters to Washington State University around that same time. His teaching assistantship was in jeopardy. He responded not with one, but 2 very different letters. The first letter was very groveling. He begged to keep his position, stressed how much he needed the insurance, emphasized his GPA and his dedication. It was like a pleading type letter. Please keep me. Then a little bit later, sends another one. That one flipped. It went after a female professor directly in it. It laid out why she was wrong and he was right. No humility, just pure arrogance in that one. Like Jekyll and Hyde, depending on who he knew was going to be looking at this letter. And specifically, We see his anger towards a female erupting again. It's the same personality that we've heard described by his colleagues. I mean, he's late to classes with female professors, never the male ones. He's rating female students horribly, ignoring the men, dismissing women, but showing deference when he wanted something. And his best buddy appears to be a woman. His mom, his attorneys, all female. What the hell does that say about Brian Kohberger?
I wonder if he saw them as female, though. I wonder if he was able to strip out their gender, that other women that he didn't need or know, they were women, but the ones that were close to him or that he desperately needed, like a professor, like a mom, they weren't women to him. Does that make sense?
Like he just categorizes everyone differently. But so
Yes.
the people who are below him in his mind, below in intelligence, if that's how he scales everything, they're women.
Yes.
But if there's an intelligent woman next to him,
she's different.
she's something else, or I don't.
Again, it's putting things into those compartments that he needs to be able to relate to them because it's so uncomfortable.
You open this door, he respects him. He loves his mom. He trusts his mom. He trusts these attorneys. And shut that one. Open this door over here, and they're pieces of meat and can't be trusted. And it's pulling the doors back in all these different bizarre ways that Kohberger does. That's Brian Kohberger. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section on YouTube. That's the latest of the little puzzle pieces that we keep learning about the early warning signs and really the after warning signs of Brian Kohberger. But now let's move on to Donna Adelson. And we got a lot more on Donna. And what's going to be interesting as of our recording of this today and our live broadcast of this today, Donna is going to be deciding whether or not she's going to testify. The judge has given her till noon today on the 3rd to make that decision. So we will see. I'm going to go with the big probably yes. Stacy?
Yes. Oh, my vote is absolutely yes. She is so going to hop on that stand. I think she's just been itching to.
Todd?
I mean, you have to say yes to that. I want to go the other way just in case there's some cash on the line here. But
well, let's see. No.
Right.
I'm going to go with that she's going to testify. I think she's too Donna. She's too full of herself not to.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else you do at this point, quite honestly. I mean, it's gotten pretty bad. We're about to take a look at some testimony from Jailhouse snitch, who also testifies to how close her and Donna got. Apparently, kind of fooled Donna a little bit because this woman used that closeness to her advantage. Some will argue that, well, maybe that takes away from the credibility of it. It really doesn't, because when they examine the letters, when they examine the handwriting, when all of that, it all points back to Donna. Let's take a look at some of the testimony from the Jailhouse snitch, and we'll break it down as we go along. This is the one who says that Donna offered her a grand piano for favorable testimony. Let's take a look.
Were you recently incarcerated in the Leon County Jail with Donna Adelson?
Yes, I was.
And did you become friendly with her during the time that y'all were both in the jail together?
Yes.
How long were you together in the jail?
I can't remember exactly, maybe around 4 months.
Were you in the same pod that whole 4 months?
Yes.
And when you're in the pod together in jail, is it easier to become friendly than it is on the outside?
Yes.
Why is that?
We're together 24/7, so.
Okay. And I want to ask you about whether Mrs. Adelson, during the time that y'all were friendly, ever discussed her case with you.
Yes.
Was her bringing up her case something that she did a lot, or was it only one time?
It was often.
So it was something that she was
Doing
talking
a lot.
about daily.
Yes.
And was it a bunch of different aspects of her case she would talk about, or only one thing?
It was different aspects.
Did Donna Adelson ever talk to you when she was talking about her case? Did she ever mention any concerns about the testimony of her son, Rob Adelson?
She did. She said she was extremely worried about his testimony.
Okay. Did she ever mention to you a state witness by the name of Catherine Magbanua?
Yes.
And was Ms. Magbanua somebody that was known to you?
Yes, I knew Miss Magbanua from being locked up with her years before it was brought to her attention.
Brought to her attention that you knew Magbanua?
Yeah.
Okay. And at some point, did the defendant try to recruit you to become a witness for her in this case?
Yes.
How did she first approach you about that?
She asked me if I would be willing to do it, and I said yes.
Okay. And was this topic discussed one time or more than one time?
More than once.
How many times can you estimate? A lot?
A lot, yes.
Okay. And what is it that she wanted you to testify about?
She wanted me to testify about numerous different things about Kay, mostly about Miss Magbanua.
And Miss Magbanua, you knew her by the nickname Kay?
Yes.
Okay. And so she had some things she wanted you to say about Kay.
Correct.
At some point, did she prepare a script for you of exactly what she wanted you to testify to?
She did.
State's Exhibit 62. Do you recognize State 62?
I do.
Is this the script that was prepared for you by Ms. Adelson?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Whose notebook is this?
That's mine.
And whose handwriting is this on this first page?
Let's pause it for a
That's-
second.
I'm sorry, that
That's
made
a
me laugh.
lovely notebook.
You're going places? Not really.
The notebook, in case you're listening to this, they're showing it on the screen, and it says in big gold lettering on a big red backdrop, "You're going places."
Can I show you something? Can we come to me for a second?
Oh God, do you have the same notebook?
No, but here's what I do have.
I am dazzling.
Do you know what it is? It's my divorce notebook. It's got
Oh
all
my
my
God.
financial. It's got so I guess I can relate.
You're relating to the Jailhouse snitch.
What are you gonna do?
And you were pro burger earlier today. So
Wow.
it's been quite a
Uh-oh.
morning for you, Stacy.
Excellent.
You're going places. Well, let's see exactly where she's going and what's in that notebook.
Donna's Miss Anderson.
Okay, so she wrote this in your notebook.
Yes, ma'am.
And what is it you were supposed to do with this information?
I was supposed to study it and answer it
Oh,
correctly on the stand for her.
So this is what she wanted you to say in court.
Yes, ma'am.
So for example, how did you know Donna Adelson? You were supposed to say everyone knew her. She's been on the news. I've seen and heard about this on TV shows and read it in the newspaper over the years.
Correct.
Coaching him.
Do you read the newspaper?
No.
Okay. Did you know much about her or her case prior to coming in contact with her in the Leon County Jail?
No, ma'am.
And what were you supposed to do with this physical script?
I was supposed to copy it down and give it back to her.
Okay, copy it into your own handwriting?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you provide this item to my office?
Yes, ma'am.
And was it copied and returned to you?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do with it once you returned with the original to Leon County Jail?
Return it to her.
It says that you approached Mrs. Adelson and told her you had information about Kay that you wanted to give her. Is that true?
No.
This says that Kay told you that she told Charlie on the night of the murder that some friends of hers went to Tallahassee and killed him. Did Kay ever tell you that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. She asked him to give her the 1/3 of $1 million that he was going to pay his sister so that she could relocate with her children to Miami. He went crazy on her. He said that that was going to be an offer to his brother-in-law not to kill him. Did Kay ever say any of that to you?
No, ma'am.
She convinced him that the murderers think a woman is paying for this. They don't know Charlie. She told him she wouldn't tell her friends who he is. She can keep him safe. So she was, according to this story, extorting money out of Charlie, but he didn't know it. He thought she was his friend, but really she was his enemy. Is that the deal?
Yes, I suppose that's what it's supposed to be.
All right, and
Pause that
then
for a second there.
Kay, Catherine.
Is anyone following what she's trying to say?
No.
I am. Like
Okay.
Okay, then
she's
tell us.
well, she's trying to get Drina to say that Catherine was the one who came up with the whole murder thing.
Okay.
Hmm.
Just for fun, just go kill this guy at random.
It is amazing to me that even in prison, she is trying to control everything.
Yeah.
That's all she knows.
I mean, this doesn't make any sense.
I mean, it's definitely messed up, but yeah, basically she's trying to say, in my understanding, that it was Kay or Catherine's idea to actually go through with the murder.
So Catherine decides she's going to go and take out Dan Markel just for the hell of it, and then say that it was because the Adelsons wanted it to happen. And in doing so, she's going to extort them for $3,000 a month so they don't go and turn on them and say that the Adelsons ordered the hit. Is that it?
That's my understanding.
Wow.
Wow.
That's big.
She's going
She's going places.
She's going places.
Score.
That's quite a twisted story. Only like a true, real, malignant narcissist could make up in their mind and then put on to, paper and say, here, say this. Wow.
And trust Drina not to do something with that. Like, I don't get it.
Again, she put cash in a washing machine.
Yeah, this is not somebody who thinks clearly.
So this is someone who also thought that, some random woman in prison or jail or wherever she is, was trustworthy. And she's got a rap sheet a mile long. Oh, yeah, this will be a great one. I'll give you a grand piano for all of this. I mean, it's God. And that first piece of it, she told me to say this. Who doesn't know Donna Adelson? She's everywhere. She's on the TV. She's on the news. She's on the beach. She's at work. She's at your home. She's a better variety of narcissistic murdering mother-in-law for your workday. I mean, she's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
God, let's continue.
Never Magdana ever say any of that to you?
No.
Do you know, are you familiar at all with Charlie Adelson's trial or his trial testimony?
No,
Here, she laughed about how easy it was to extort, and extort is underlined. Did you underline that, or did Mrs. Adelson underline that?
I didn't underline it.
Okay. How easy it was to extort him for the money. He wouldn't have to take her out to a fancy dinner. She could buy plenty of fancy dinners with the $1/3 of $1 million. She said she fooled her baby daddy and she fooled Charlie. Sigfredo would do anything for her, and he did. Did Kay say any of this to you? Okay. Charlie was scared and easy to extort. What a stupid fool. He believed her that she was keeping him safe from the killers. Ha ha, what a joke. Is that the type of language that Catherine Magdana would use?
No.
Do you know her well enough to tell this jury that she wouldn't say something like, what a stupid fool, ha ha, what a joke?
Yeah, she wouldn't talk like that.
But that's what Mrs. Adelson wanted you to come in and tell this jury.
Yes, ma'am.
Did she give you anything or promise you anything in exchange for reciting this script?
Well, I was in jail. I received packages and phone calls, and I was promised things as well.
What type of packages?
Packages are in jail just like a bunch of basically gas station food, but it's exciting when you're in jail.
Okay, and what about phone calls? What do you mean by that?
Just the phone calls are very expensive from jail, so she would let me use her phone to call my mother and other people.
Okay, and you said she promised you other things in the future. What other types of things?
$10,000, a grand piano.
What else?
She promised me cameras, but
None of that came to fruition.
no.
Okay. And what about pills? Did she mention anything to you about pills?
Yes, that if I needed pills, that I could call a doctor named I think Obed. I think that's his name. Yes.
And that person would write you some prescriptions?
Yes, ma'am.
And why would you be in need of prescription medication?
I'm a recovering drug addict.
Did she tell you that if you were to be released that you could make these phone calls, including this phone call to Dr. Obed?
Yes.
Okay. And how were you going to get these other items, like the $10,000?
The money would be through something called Zelle.
Okay. And who was going to send the money through Zelle?
Harvey.
That's her husband, Harvey Adelson?
Yes.
And Harvey.
Yeah, good
How
luck
are you
with that.
supposed to contact Harvey Adelson?
Through a phone app called Signal.
Okay. Had you ever heard of the phone app Signal before?
No, ma'am.
This is placeholder media.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, I can't see Harvey using Zelle or Signal. I'm sorry. There are people my age that can't use those products.
I don't think I
Harvey's
use
gonna do
either
it?
of them.
Good Lord, people.
It's like Donna was. I want to say this first and foremost because this is something I think this is the elephant in the room. Gas station food is good no matter where you are.
Oh, no.
Whether you're in prison, whether you're out for a drive, whether you are just hungry and want a Jack Snack Link, and you know it's questionable what sort of meat may be in that Jack Snack Link, it's still delicious, and you'll eat it. You will, and you'll like it. So that's.
I'm sorry. When she said that, I kind of went, well, that's incentive not to go to prison.
I don't know. Like I kind of, but it seems that Donna was kind of trying to offer up anything and everything she could possibly think of. Just making shit up, really, at this point. Oh, yes, you can call. I have a friend who's a doctor. He can write you prescriptions. Do this, do that. Pretty much knowing that at the end of the day, well, once she's out the door, then she's not going to be a problem for me. I think that's how she thought. She was just going to use her as a pawn, make her believe this shit. And then at the end of the day, well, she's never going to come back and testify against me in court.
We got a great comment. Why does it sound like a 90s late night infomercial of the Monster Ballad CD set with how she's trying to sell her story? I mean, that is so great.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
It really
Best
is.
comment of the day.
The Monster Ballad CD set.
It absolutely does, doesn't it?
There's a viewer who understands our sense of humor.
I wonder what was on the Monster Ballad CD set. That makes me wonder. It's like
That was Kate, right? Thanks, Kate. That
Yep.
was stellar. You win the internet today. I'm not in charge
Yeah.
of giving out the award, but if I were, you win.
featuring great hits such as Benny Mardone's Into the Night.
Oh no!
She's just 16 years old.
That's
Is there a
horrible story.
creepier song in the world than that
No.
song?
There is not.
And it
Well,
still tests really well in radio.
it's creepy as the video is horrible.
It's got a nice, I'm not going to say a nice
Good
beat
melody.
to it. Yeah, the melody is nice, but the lyrics are horrific.
Oh my God.
That's Kohberger over there talking, so keep that in mind.
Damn it, Todd.
There was one the other day I heard, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about that one. It was an oldie. It was another one of those about like you're too young songs.
Girl, oh, yeah.
You'll be a woman soon.
It's,
Well, that
no,
was
there's
another
another one.
That was another one. Neil Diamond screwed us over on that
I
one.
forgot what the other, but it was like, God, it was like a format almost. It was like predatory jams for your workday.
Oh,
And,
God.
you know, it was. There were
But
so
you're not
many.
wrong.
But
I mean, Ringo Starr, she's 16. There's
Yeah.
a scary one.
Leave her alone. Yeah.
Conway Twitty, you've never been this far before. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a lot of creepy songs out there.
there is. And it was just, I mean, yeah, I mean,
There's a Time Life album right there.
Yeah,
I guess
wait a
it's,
minute. Where are you getting these? Looking at your record collection over there, Todd?
No, Stacy. No.
this would be, I mean, these are all like in my yacht rock collection of music, you know, and you're just like, I'm going to fast forward that one. That's a little weird.
Especially with your daughter sitting next to you in the car.
Exactly. Well, she'll be like, this is insane. Like I've shown her the Benny Mardone's video. Like this is creepy as hell.
Well, there's
And
a
then-
video for it.
Yes, and then we go and watch an episode of To Catch a Predator right after it,
God.
and it's like, see, this is how that all works. Harvey in this now too. This is the first time we've really heard Harvey be introduced into this more than just he was at the airport with a one-way ticket as well. At least that I can recall here in this setting. Is it Donna shooting her mouth off, or do you think Donna had a conversation with Harvey of like, once she gets out, she may call you and you need to do this or that, or this is when she gets out, this crazy bitch might call you, just hang up on her. It's no big deal, Harvey. I wonder.
Go to the music store and get her a grand piano, which.
Yeah.
But was that just a random thing? Was this drug addict a pianist as well? I mean, where's the piano come from? I'm curious.
I wonder if the piano skills improve after taking something.
Yeah.
Do they get really like, oh my gosh, you're a master pianist. Thank God for Donna Adelson getting you your drugs.
Into drugs too?
I
think so.
Yeah.
Or an alcoholic, one or the other. There was something going on there.
I think you may have some interesting music. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if there is a double CD set that's released here shortly after Donna's in prison, where she gets out. Not Donna gets out, but the woman who was testifying gets out, falls in love with Harvey, and they make a duet album.
Oh my God! And
it's kind of like what's the one that Lady Gaga just redid? The album. It was originally like one of the Bee Gees and Barbra Streisand, I believe, or wasn't one of the Bee Gees. A Star Is Born. They're going to do A Star Is Born. It'll be okay. Donna's cellmate here, and Harvey. It's going to be great. You will see. I mean, get your pre-orders in now.
Before Christmas.
Harvey's going to be also looking just like the album cover of the original.
So I've got a quick note about Harvey that I want to bring up.
Yeah,
because there's some photos out there of him, obviously, and I don't know if you've seen this photo. Let me pull it up for you real quick. Okay,
yeah,
him sitting in court, right? Tell me that he does not look like.
Yes.
Oh,
yes. I was going there. I couldn't think of it. Walter.
Walter.
Yes.
Jeff what is
Dunham's
Walter
guy.
From?
He's just comedian. Jeff,
oh yeah.
Jeff,
Okay.
Yeah, something, right?
Holy shit.
The dude with the peanut on a stick.
Yeah.
Jeff Dunham is the guy.
Jeff Dunham, yeah. He does look like the Walter Jeff Dunham character. Oh my God.
Like completely. I saw that picture yesterday. I'm like, holy crap.
I've been looking and going, he looks familiar. I've been saying Elmer Fudd.
He's a little fuddish, but I think Walter is the new. Yeah, look at that.
Look at him sitting there right between you guys. That's perfect.
It's pretty creepy. Put my arm around him or something. Here's another one. Did you ever watch the Trailer Park Boys?
Yes.
No.
Jim Leahy is another one that he kind of looks like. From that show, Jim Leahy.
I can't unsee that in my head.
He's dead. He died recently. The actor in that, but that's another one. Here's another clip from the testimony. This is a shorter one because, of course, they don't have a lot of witnesses for Donna, it seems.
No.
That's why Donna is likely going to be taking the stand here. Like right now, as we're recording this, like Wendy's divorce attorney is on the stand. It's like, who can we get to show up and say something? Because the experts really haven't done a whole lot other than basically confirmed she was in prison. This is her best friend on the stand talking about what a lovely individual Donna is. And because she says it, well, gosh darn it, the jury should probably just believe it and go home. Let's take a look.
Have you ever heard her threaten anyone?
Never.
Have you ever seen her harm anyone?
Never.
Have you ever heard her threaten to have somebody harmed?
No.
Did she ever make statements to you? Well, let me ask you this first. You were friends with her, obviously, when Wendy was going through her divorce.
Yes.
During that time period, through the divorce, and up to the time that Danny Markell was killed, you're aware that he was murdered?
Yes.
Okay. At any time during that period, did she ever say she wanted to have Danny Markell killed?
Never.
Ever say she wanted him to be harmed?
Ever.
Okay.
Did she ever tell you that she was being extorted in reference to Mr. Markell's murder?
Eventually, yes.
When she went to Vietnam, or was trying to go to Vietnam to clear her head, she was going to clear her head in a non-extradition country. Can you agree with that?
I wasn't aware it was non-extradition.
Did Donna ever tell you she wasn't coming back?
Never.
Well, there you go. Case closed.
it makes me wonder, like, what would my best friend know? Bum, bum, bum.
Well,
I don't
the
know.
officers, there's a lot of tape here that we should be going over. She said a lot of things that I can't deny that she said. So,
Right? Right? It's yeah. I don't know. I feel like Donna has her coffee friends, and then
yeah.
she has her people. You know?
Was that a coffee friend? I think it was a coffee friend.
That was a coffee friend. She doesn't know all the intricacies of
No.
Donna's family.
That'd be very much if she ever accepts the reality of who Donna is. I just couldn't believe that she was. It's too scary. It's too much. It's too shaking. I think to think of someone like that. If
Mhm.
you're, kind of casual acquaintances, you
Yeah.
enjoy the Mick coffee every now and then and the hash
Mhm.
brown, and it's like, yeah, that couldn't be. That couldn't
Yeah.
be, but that couldn't be Donna from the coffee clutch. It just couldn't.
Nope, we talked about crocheting and the beautiful plants that I just got at the nursery. I mean,
Mhm.
that's probably the depth of that relationship.
And gingivitis, what to do about gingivitis.
Gingivitis. Yes.
I'll have my son call you.
Yep.
You got the gingivitis. Yeah. I forgot my teeth at home. I'm just going to gum the McMuffin today. Mwah.
Oh, they don't go to McDonald's, honey.
Yeah,
No.
they're probably at the country club. You're probably
Correct.
right.
Correct.
Yeah. Those are country club folks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's take a little closer look at some of the testimony from the trial of Donna Adelson. It's going to be very, very exciting if she takes the stand, and of course, we're going to be breaking that whole thing down. I think from start to finish, if indeed that happens. But what does the future have in store for Harvey Adelson? What does it have in store for Wendy Adelson? I had a chance to sit down and talk to Jennifer Coffindaffer, retired FBI special agent, about just that. And she gave us some insight on, both of them, where the wheels are turning and what the future may hold. Let's take a look at that.
Is Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi. Here now, Tony Bruschi.
Harvey Adelson. Let's talk about him for a little bit. The silent father with ties that won't go away. Harvey's never taken the stand in the trial of anyone as of yet. And compared to Donna and Charlie, he's been almost kind of a shadowy figure. But the details that come out in this trial drag him a little bit closer to the center of the plot than he's ever been before, between the phone records, coded texts, and his alleged attempt to leave the country. The question is no longer whether Harvey benefited from Dan's death. It's whether he actively knew about it and had anything to do with it. Joining me to discuss, Jennifer Coffindaffer, retired FBI special agent. Let's dig into the signals that are kind of pointing his way a bit in this. Let's start with the hitman phone call. Harvey's phone showed up in communications with Sigfrido Garcia just weeks before the murder. Not a casual connection. How could investigators evaluate whether this was accidental or a direct link tying Harvey into this whole murder chain, Jen?
Well, I think one particular item will never stand on its own. But when you start adding up the items of circumstantial evidence against Harvey, that conversation at Dolce Vita, the fact that I would call this a clear sort of accessory after that crime, trying to leave the country and on a one-way ticket to Vietnam, all of that, and the conversations and different text messages, it really starts to shine that he was involved.
It really is starting to feel that way. I got a lot of questions about the specifics, but let me just get your visceral reaction to what we've seen in the courtroom. He's been sitting there every single day, kind of by himself, looking a little Elmer Fudd stundish, I would say, every single day. What's been your take on Harvey in the courtroom, watching all this unfold?
Well, I think he's worried. I mean, he's a smart man. This was a multimillionaire dentist. He not only was a good dentist apparently, but he was a good businessman. And so he's no dummy. He's not a guy that's just back there sort of being led by, a nose ring. This guy, I think, is smart, and he's seeing what the prosecution did, how the prosecution started with the low-hanging fruit, worked to Magnaba, and sorry if I'm saying her name wrong, Catherine, and then
Donna,
yeah, and then moved from there on to Donna, obviously Charlie first, and he sees what the prosecution is doing. And with each trial, you see sort of the spattering of who they're going after next. And I see that spattering with both Harvey and Wendy in this trial.
Was he smart enough to keep out of it, though? Was he smart enough to just keep his nose and his business acumen and keep the money coming in and keep the family alive? Or do you think Harvey was part of the larger conversation here that likely was going on between Donna and Charlie and about getting rid of Dan Markel? And God knows if anybody else was in on those conversations. Or did he keep his nose clean? I think that's the big question.
Well, I think he knew. Look, they were married forever. I think he knew, not just based on that, but based on the other indicators. That Dolce Vita film, I think, is bad for him, even though the sound is terrible, which often happens. But I think you look at that. But do I think they have enough to prove beyond a reasonable doubt? I don't know, without anybody else testifying against him for the murder conspiracy. But what about the accessory after the fact?
Yeah.
That's where those types of actions that he took to go to Vietnam, it just shows such a consciousness of guilt. I could see them charging and then pulling him down.
The Dolce Vita film is a tough one. It is insanely hard to understand. I think a lot of people's eyes glaze over when it's played because it's like, what is this? But I know you've paid greater attention to it. What about it? I mean, for those out there who haven't paid attention to that piece, what is so damning about it for Harvey?
Well, the damning part is that's what they're discussing. They're discussing all of this issues in the crime. And why would you discuss that? Now, on the flip side of that, remember, there are other discussions where I believe it's Donna that says, hey, let's not talk about it, basically when Harvey's here. So that's something that a defense for Harvey would be taking a look at, that sort of the juxtaposition between the conversation with Charlie and juxtaposing that with, hey, listen, they wanted to keep him out of it. Look, I think he's on the cusp. Do I think that would be a great case against him? No way. This is not a great case against him. But for a lesser charge.
It's interesting just to think about what could possibly happen there. This is a family that enjoyed communicating in code, or at least so they thought. They weren't the greatest at it. Donna texted Charlie about getting that birthday present for Harvey. Could be taken both ways, I guess. Prosecutors say it was code for murder. From an FBI perspective, how do you prove a coded message is exactly that? And what does it say about Harvey if this gift is meant for him?
Well, I think the interesting thing is Harvey can't decide what gift is for him, right? He's not involved in that conversation per se. But we love it as an FBI agent. I love it when people start saying, the cake, meaning, or wow, hey, let's go on a roller coaster today. Or how about it's time for a big screen TV. And they just do it over and over and over again to refer to the criminal activity. We kind of salivate because we know juries love that. They see through it. And we all see through it. And they somehow think that that's going to protect them. I guess it is better than saying, hey, how did that murder hit go? Better to say TV, but we all see through it.
Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, the night that the visit that they went to Charlie's, Harvey and Donna straight to Charlie's house, the evening of the murder together. Does that look like a grieving family rallying together, or more like co-conspirators, checking in after the plan succeeded?
Well, of course, with all we know now, co-conspirators. And then you add on top of that those conversations with Rob again is the other son, good son, if you will, and sort of how they kept him in the dark and even hung up on him, and his point was, and I think it's the point we all took, these people were not acting like you would normally act if the father of your grandchildren was just literally shot in the back of the head in his car. I mean, you would be worried about your daughter. You'd be worried about your family. You'd be wanting to understand why this happened. And they're just kind of like, yeah, it looks like he's dead. We're going to go up and check it out. Bye.
Yeah, very, very passive on something. You'd think you'd be, are we next? Is somebody mad at the whole group? But if you already know the answer to that, well, then your reaction is not going to quite be there. What are they? Do you think that they are looking for something, that they're going to try and get something out of someone in this trial in terms of testimony that they can use as another piece in the puzzle against Harvey, that they're just waiting to get? Do they have enough to go after Harvey, and maybe they'll get something? Where do you think they're sitting here on him?
I think their hope is, from a prosecution standpoint, I would be salivating if Donna decided to take the stand. And again, when you look at her counsel, who, to me, if she's convicted, they're going to have Sixth Amendment issues all over the place, possibly for a successful appeal, because her counsel seems quite inept on several different levels and not just her wardrobe. And so you wonder if Donna's going to be able to convince her in her La Land that we know she's in. I mean, she wrote the script for the Jailhouse to say, right? She's in complete Hollywood land. Does she think she can maybe take that stand and convince those jurors that, listen, everybody's got it all wrong, and this is really what this meant and what this meant, and gibbers was really a nice thing for me to call my son-in-law. I think a lot of people like this, like an Alec Murdaugh, really think that they can talk anybody into anything. And quite frankly, she's got a good track record. She's been able to talk Charlie, who was a dentist. I believe he was periodontist, very successful, into coordinating a murder.
Yeah.
So her whole life, she's been successful at control. And I think maybe she might take that stand, just saying, see, I can even control a jury, but we'll see.
She has control. She has a lot of control still, but the control that she has is over the future of Harvey and over Wendy. I mean, at the end of the day, she can take that stand and incriminate the hell out of them if she wants to. I mean, and I'm wondering if that's maybe what kept Wendy forgetting things so often when she was on the stand. Because I want to talk about Wendy Adelson here as well, and what the future may hold for her. She seemed to not have a great memory this round of the trial. But I think at the other end of the day, she knows that she hasn't talked to her mom in a couple years. And if mom takes the stand, mom's pretty much in control if you're going to be in prison or not, depending on what she wants to reveal. How much, or how strong are these strings that Donna still has over Wendy?
Well, Donna's strings are, I mean, this is fishing line. This is strong strings, because Donna, with just her testifying, she could absolutely get Wendy prosecuted. Mic drop, same against Harvey. And that, of course, is what the prosecution's dream situation would be. Do I think she's going to do it? I don't know. I mean, if she's convicted and is going to have to serve the rest of her life, may she flip? I don't know. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't be surprised if she did it. But you asked me about her control. She has complete control over Wendy and Harvey at this point.
And ultimately, if she's the martyr and the woman that she wants everybody to think she is, she would just go away quietly and take it for the team, and it happened. But I don't know that she's going to do it. I feel like she might just want to sink everybody on the Titanic with her and bring her down, because that's the way it goes. and that's just kind of how she thinks. Wendy's own boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend, obviously testified that she said Charlie had looked into hiring a hitman. He was right there for some of those discussions on the stand. She denied involvement, but admitted that she loathed her ex. And she's also been careful to distance herself, often saying she didn't recall the very details prosecutors were pressing. So there's a lot that is on the table for Wendy and that ex-boyfriend testifying, admitting that that Charlie had explored that hitman moment, that possibility. If true, how does law enforcement judge whether a statement like that is a credible foreknowledge or just idle venting? Because that would have taken place prior to the hit.
Yeah, I think law enforcement would absolutely use that as another piece in the evidentiary pyramid that they would be building. But again, they really need Donna to make the case against Harvey.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure they need Donna to make the case against Wendy. It's not the strongest case, but they've got a case there. And when you look at the totality of this conspiracy, Tony,
Mm-hmm.
I think they could get a conviction before a jury.
Do you see them going after Wendy or Charlie after this, or one or the other? Is it one more at a time, or are they done once it very much looks like Donna will be going down?
Right, Wendy or Harvey, I think that if Donna is convicted, I think they will go after Wendy.
Yeah. How soon? Do you think it's like, Wendy, you better have your bags packed and ready? Or do you think it's going to be it might be a surprise one morning for Wendy?
Well, we call this, tickling the wire, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
They will want to see what the responses are from everybody. You never know what phones they're listening to.
Mm-hmm.
You never know what informants that they might be wheedling into Wendy's world and Harvey's world. We don't know. But I can tell you from being on that side, I would be using every investigative tool I had right now to finish and close out this case. So they're going to wait a little while. It's not going to be overnight.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to just see if the tickling, if she's convicted of Donna, gets them any more evidence.
Do you think they've been actively investigating Wendy over the last, up until continuing into today, until if they actually do charge her? Do you think that they've been listening to her phone calls? Do you think they've been monitoring her communications, waiting for something for her to slip up, to say something to somebody that is damning enough to finally go after her with?
Well, the question is, do they really have the probable cause that they need necessary to listen to her? Why, to do a type 3 intercept? That I don't know, but I can tell you that that's what they would want to be doing. In other words, they'll be looking at her phone call records. I truly believe that on what we call like a pen register situation, or just monitoring them as they occur in the past and getting her records. I think they're actively, definitely still investigating her. I think she's on their list of subjects because, like all of us, I think we see really who was, was she 100% behind this, or was she just one of the people behind it? I think she was one of the people behind it for sure.
The fact that, she doesn't recall so many things, and this would have been like, one of, if not the most, traumatic moments in your life. People do block that stuff off. You've had plenty of time to contemplate this. It's one thing not to remember something. It's another, to truly not to not recall it on the stand. It's another to truly not remember it. When it comes down to actually having memory and being able to prove that you have memory of it because you've talked about it, you've sent emails about it, you've done this, you've done that. There's a lot of things that on that stand she just can't recall, and that's a great buffer for her. It provides her the strategy to avoid perjury. But at the same point, there obviously is a lot more that she did in fact have knowledge to. Exactly what That's the piece that's up for question. If they were to go in at Wendy after all of this, is it still an investigative moment? Do they go and question her again at some point? Or at this point, is it, if we're going after Wendy, guns are blazing. Not that they're going to, shoot her, but they're going to go in and they're going to make the arrest, and it's not going to be, pretty.
I think they would still take a run at interviewing her.
Yeah.
Obviously, she has counsel, I believe. And so they have to go through that. Only in the movies do you get to sort of evade counsel and just start asking questions. Reality, you could not question her. So to your question, guns a-blazing, meaning would they just go pick her up? I think that is what would happen. And listen, what liquor store was she really looking for over by Charlie's? Come on. It's so obvious, but the prosecution is doing a great job building everything up. And I think, maybe they're hoping Donna takes that stand and says something she regrets, or that she decides, I'm tired of, I'm going down, you're going down too.
Was there anything in the testimony this round from Wendy's ex-boyfriend who came on this stand? I found him to be very fascinating. I went back and even watched his police deposition from way back. And he reveals so many interesting tidbits about the Adelsons and their dynamic and the enmeshment, and just how much of an adult child Wendy is, and how they treated her. Was there anything this round of what he revealed that is different from the previous trials, or anything that paints Wendy in a more damning light than we've seen in the past?
Wendy is painted in such a damning light before, during, and after, right? Yeah. She's smart. She was a law professor herself. She was very well educated, Tony. She does not buffalo, I don't think, most women who realize she's manipulative and conniving, and she's the one that benefited the most from this entire crime. So Jeff does a good job, though, I think, of painting what a princess she was, but it doesn't mitigate that she's a smart woman, and it doesn't mitigate all that information that I think is attributable to her being part of the conspiracy.
It's going to be fascinating to see what happens to Wendy Adelson. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section on YouTube if that's where you are. Be sure to press subscribe wherever you're downloading podcasts as well, so you don't miss any of the coverage on this and the many cases we're following for you right here at the Hidden Killers Podcast and True Crime Today. Jennifer Coffindaffer, as always, thank you for your insight into this and our many stories.
Want more on this case and others? Then press subscribe now and don't miss a moment of true crime coverage from Tony Bruschi and the Hidden Killers Podcast. This is Hidden Killers Live with Tony Bruschi, Stacey Cole, and Todd Michaels.
Families are supposed to be our safe place. But what happens when the lines blur so much that loyalty becomes its own kind of prison? That's what we're going to be digging into today. Of course, it's all relating to the world of the Adelsons. We're not here to do a class, but we're going to be pulling apart the psychology of enmeshed families, the idiosyncrasies, the blind spot, and how far loyalty can stretch before it bends into something dangerous. Joining us to discuss, psychotherapist and author Siobhan Scott, and Stacey and Todd here as well. We're going to be going into unpacking the roots of enmeshment, the fallout it leaves on individuals, and why, in some cases, it can pull people all the way into criminal cover-ups. And I know we've talked a lot about this, Siobhan, but I want to dive even deeper and with kind of a group discussion here today, because I think everybody has different experiences and different stories. Kind of understand how these sort of interactions that I'm sure we've all had in different ways, shapes, and forms, can affect one's life. But let's go all the way back on this. When you look at a family like the Adelsons and you see just how enmeshed they are, it had to start somewhere. where does this start? Is this something Harvey and Donna get married and then Donna just kind of takes this control? Is this more of a Donna, this is how she's been before Harvey, always will be, with something from her childhood? Was it trauma? What typically do we see in situations like this?
I think it's probably a combination of culture, because families, the family we grow up in influences the way that we interpret how families work. And there are cultures, the Jewish culture being one of them, where a certain degree of enmeshment is considered normal, where kids are expected to fulfill parents' expectations in regards to religion and educational, professional status and all of that. Asian families are notoriously that way as well. But then you can have an amplification of that with a personality type who is profoundly narcissistic. And we talk a lot here about narcissism and where that comes from, combination of genetics and environment. And in that case, the narcissist is somebody, they've always been this way. They've been very self-centered, but they really see that having children is about them, and the kids are supposed to meet their needs. So it's a combination.
And that's certainly what we see a lot here in the Adelson case. But we do see this a lot. We see families all the time that seem to be tight. There's nothing wrong with having a close family. But you oftentimes also in a tight family, one that may have a certain number to the group, there'll be one or two that are kind of the odd ducks, the ones that don't go along with everything. And that's kind of how it's described. Well, they don't get along with the family. They don't go along with all the things that they do. Is that always an example of an enmeshed family over here, and then the odd duck that's calling it out? Or is there differences sometimes? Is there ever a good version of an enmeshed family?
It's fascinating. I look at it on a continuum. On one extreme, you have a disengaged family, and that's a family where the parents are not tuned into the kids. They may have some neglect or even benign neglect. They just don't pay a lot of attention to them. And then you have the middle zone where parents are there, they're connected, they're supportive, but they still allow the kids to be independent people and make their own choices as they get older. And then on the other extreme, you have the enmeshed family with the over-involvement where the kids are really tightly controlled. And the healthiest place to be is probably closer to the middle. So when I hear the word enmeshed, I automatically go with that's not really good. It's not really healthy. So you want parents to be connected, attuned, and supportive throughout their kids' lives, right? I've got middle-aged kids, and I'm still, reasonably attuned. We may only talk once a week or once a month. I'm not certainly involved in their lives to any degree, but I'm there if they would need help. And I think that's the role of parents, is to raise independent adults who have their own identity, but we're always there to be supportive in a crisis.
So is this kind of an extension of a helicopter parent, or is this a completely different idea of parenting?
I think a helicopter parent is a really good example of an enmeshed parent.
Okay.
I think that's a newer term, right? We had a book that came out about a decade ago, I think, on helicopter parenting, and it was an Asian kind of style. Yeah. And that's again, some people say, well, you get really high achieving kids from that. You may, but they also may be very anxious and depressed kids. So,
well, and look at the Adelsons. They are high achieving kids. Yes. They are absolutely at the pinnacle of their careers. And yet they are falling from their pedestals as we watch. I mean, just literally their worlds are crumbling. So what good was it? What good did it do?
I think it did lots of harm, and especially to this extreme where the loyalty to family trumps any sense of ethics and morality, which, most enmeshed families don't go to this extreme, which is why we find this one so interesting.
And what's interesting about it too is when you do have the super high achieving kid, like, oh, look what they've done. It looks great on this. It looks great at the country club when they're out there and they're having their breakfast. Oh, Charlie did this. Oh, Wendy's doing that. Oh, did I mention we have to go pick Donna or pick Wendy up and drive her across the state, and she's a 35-year-old woman because we don't trust her to drive by herself. I mean, there's these bizarre caveats that I'm sure the let's drive Wendy across the state doesn't come up at the coffee clutch, but more so the achievements do. But at the end of the day, you have this totally, I don't want to say totally inept, but a fairly inept adult that isn't capable of acting as an adult at the end of the day, because they know this enmeshment as mom's love, as her caring. It's not looked at as enmeshment. It's not looked at as toxic. It's not looked at as anything bad. So to Wendy, I do you think she even sees any of this as weird or bad, or did see it as weird or bad?
I would guess that she's starting to see it at this point, and probably having to face a lot of things about the way she was raised that she didn't see as weird. She went along with it. And often kids see that to differentiate, to develop their own identity, that is going to bring a terrible response from the parent. And so they hesitate to do it. And so they don't have any insight. They don't see it. But with what's gone on in this situation, my guess is she's done quite a bit of reflecting and probably gotten input from other people who were like, you were not raised in a normal family here.
Let's go to the root of, like, why do you have the kids not pushing back? There was obviously kids push back on everything, but at some point they learned, not worth it, not going to push back against mom, and it stayed true into adulthood. Where is that? Why is that? What was the flipping point of, I don't want to talk back to mom, I don't want to express my own opinion on anything?
I think they learn it as toddlers, that if, toddlers are famous for trying to push back on their parents. And I think if you're in a home where mom gets hysterical or really angry every time you push back on her, these kids are raised to not do that. Now, often if there are multiple kids in the family, you'll have one that does, and that becomes the family scapegoat, where, they become sort of the black sheep, and they're not meeting the parents' needs. And that's the one that moves across country and just stops talking to them.
Which
and the one that calls them out.
Yes.
Yeah. They don't like that. When you have that going on, you grow up in the environment, you said, it starts as toddlers, and you see mom get hysterical, and you see her react in such ways that are not congruent to reality. Obviously, that's a big sign of a kind of a distorted reality that they're viewing life in. How often does that then translate into, well, that little girl, it's going to turn out to be a lot like little mom, or even the little boy might turn out to be a lot like mom, if they're like literally learning cause and effect. Mom gets hysterical, she gets her way from toddler age.
Yeah, we can guess that this is how Donna was raised, and this is sort of the rules of how family is supposed to work. And so do you replicate this in another generation? They may not, but it's certainly possible that this is their view of kids are there to meet their parents' needs.
Yeah. I mean, is it just the fear that mom's going to get upset, or if it's a male figure, if dad's going to get upset, or is it fear of something greater than just them getting mad that drives, this kind of motive in life to operate that way?
I think it's a fear of losing their love and not being loyal to the family story, which is we take care of mom's feelings. It's almost like you're going to lose your status, your role in the family, and you lose yourself because you don't have an independent identity. And they're not aware that they're doing this at all. It just happens automatically, which is kind of the insidious nature of it.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are listening to this or watching this going, oh, that sounds familiar. And it may be for the first time in their life making that realization, or putting a name to it, putting it's not just, the family's really tight and I don't get along with them, or they see things differently, or they're controlling. There is a dynamic here of what enmeshment is. How does that then translate to folks who grew up in an environment like this, to them branching out in adult life into their own personal relationships, specifically romantic relationships?
It creates a huge problem when you have another person enter the family system. And that's usually when one of the adult kids gets married. And I have story after story about adult kids who come to therapy because they're having severe marital problems, because we'll say mom, could be dad, but usually it's mom, is trying to control everything about the spouse. And it creates, where do we go on holidays? How do we raise the kids? I have a neighbor who's fascinating because you can tell they're very enmeshed. She's got 4 adult kids in their 30s and 40s, and they come every Sunday for dinner. And it's like, they have to come. It is, it's like the kids cannot disappoint mom. And I've gotten to know all of them over the years. And you can just look at things like that, where this is a family ritual. It's a routine. And I mean, I think it's great to get together for dinner now and then, but to have it be, we cannot disappoint mom because Sunday dinner is the thing. And yeah, when they get a spouse that maybe doesn't want to do that every Sunday, then you have conflict. And the other interesting thing that happens is the parent always blames the spouse. Well, it's her fault because she's poisoning his mind against us, or she's not allowing us to raise the kids the way we think. And so it's all her. And it puts I'll say the son, it's often a son, it puts the son in a terrible position with, trying to keep mom happy and show up for every holiday that she wants them there, and then feeling a loyalty to his wife, which is really where his loyalty should be.
I can relate terribly. I was in one of those situations, and I think when I woke up in the morning, I pissed off my mother-in-law.
Because you're alive?
Just because I woke up. I didn't die in my sleep. Yeah, I just existed. We were high school sweethearts. We dated for 10 years. And she just, I was taking her little boy away from her. And I'll never forget, I had emergency surgery on an ovarian cyst. And she came to my bedside and grabbed my arm and said, "You better be able to still have children." Jesus. And I'm on a morphine pump at this point. What?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So,
it's something you can do and fix at that moment too. Let me check. Let me just reach down there and figure it out for you.
Right? I'm fresh out of surgery. And instead of, I hope you have a great recovery, you better be able to have children. Oh my God.
I mean, Siobhan, what is going through that woman's mind that this is the appropriate response to say to someone fresh out of surgery?
Sure lacks empathy, doesn't she? It's always about her needs and her inability to see that this is Off. It's profoundly narcissistic. That's a crazy in-law there.
Yeah, well, she wasn't an in-law for very long. I got the hell out of there.
Good for you.
How did he react to that, Stacy?
He cowered. He did nothing. This was a symptom of a problem. She got drunk on our, it was my senior prom. He was a year younger than me, his junior prom. And she was drunk and didn't like my dress. Now, this was in the 80s. It was a cute dress, but she didn't like it. She didn't feel that it complimented her son. I mean, so this was over and over, and she completely ruined our prom night because she was just a blathering drunk. She was pissed at me. He ended up forcing her to apologize to me the next day. That was the only time that he ever stood up against her. And there was some repercussions for that as well. She didn't talk to him. We actually weren't invited to certain dinners and things like that. So she punished him for standing up to her. And then I don't think he ever did it again.
Do you have any pictures of that dress, Stacy? I'd love to see that.
I do. I don't have them handy, but it was a black dress because every woman has to have a little black dress, and that's exactly what it was. It was strapless. It was so cute. Had just lace, like a lace skirt. It was adorable.
Sounds wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure Todd. I'm sure Todd could make an AI version of it right now that is very true to reality. That we can look at here in just a few moments to go back to the 80s.
It was traumatizing because I didn't do anything wrong, and all I did was love this boy at the time and thought that we had a future together. And here's this crazy woman who is seeing me as a threat. I mean, almost like a dog, like guarding her bowl of food, and I'm coming in to take a little nugget out of it. And it's like, holy crap, woman.
When you have the enmeshed mom role, and let's specifically talk about that, like in Stacey's situation, do they ever get better? Do they ever realize, you know what, after so many relationships that I've destroyed for my child over here, or put this much weight on, do they realize it as they're destroying things, or they're saving their kid probably in their mind because they weren't good enough for them anyhow? Is there ever that moment that they say, I'm going to back off here, I'm going to let you live your life? Or does it pretty much, does the kid, the adult child of the enmeshed mom and the narcissistic mom just pretty much have to go through life and count down the days until they're in the ground for this to stop?
Yeah, I wish I could be optimistic. I always try to hold hope, but I can't say that. Have I ever seen one that got insight and changed? I don't think so. And usually you can help the kids, you know, in therapy, learn to set boundaries and gain perspective that this is not normal and it is ruining your relationships. So that's sort of where the shift can happen.
Sure.
But a person this profoundly narcissistic, that's just who they are.
Are there different degrees of this? Because you notice when Wendy was up on the stand, she was still trying to, well, I don't know, and in ways play down her mother's narcissism. I don't know if I call her this, but I call her that. And eventually she kind of does realize it. I think Wendy's also a little bit fearful that Donna holds the cards and could send her to prison for the rest of her life. But take that out of the equation. Do you have different degrees of this where it's harder to always identify in relationships? Because it's not always to such an nth where, you know, the ex or the spouse gets offed by a hitman, but there's the emotional manipulation and things of that nature that don't always come with the giant red flag, and they come with enough of a yellow flag that one can say, well, I was just doing this and that, and you're misunderstanding me.
Yeah. It's the degree of insight varies, and as with all these things, there's a continuum with it. And this is a case where it is my guess now that Wendy's gotten some insight from this hellish disaster that's resulted. And is there hope for her? Well, if she doesn't go to prison, hopefully lessons learned here. But I think Donna will go to her deathbed with her story, believing her story, that this was all about saving her children and her grandchildren, and therefore it was justified.
Is this kind of like and I don't mean to go back so far to, I want to say the 90s, 2000s, but Everybody Loves Raymond. Is this just Marie Barone on steroids?
I never saw it.
Oh, come on. Oh, you're killing me, woman.
I never saw that.
You go watch a couple episodes.
I'll have to do that now.
Yeah.
When you put the nice situational comedy filter on it, it makes everybody feel good about it. But I think that's a lot of what we have in our society. There's very dark, damaging things that characters like this do that don't go to murder, but we write them off so much as well. It's like that sitcom. It's like that character over here. But in reality, I mean, that could be a really dark piece of that sitcom if you really wanted to dive into it. Like, what's
Right.
going on in Marie's home when she's sitting there? What's going on in her thoughts at night about Raymond and about their life and what she wants to control? It probably wouldn't be so situational comedy like if we were to really dive into that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, we seem to have ways of, you know, patting the walls a little bit and not wanting to quite grasp the depth of what it is, you know, that we're dealing with. Do enmeshed families typically realize that they're abnormal, or does it take outside intervention for something to happen before someone says, "Hey"?
Yeah, I don't think they realize they're abnormal. I think it's also true for disengaged families. I came from a very disengaged family where
Mhm.
you were told at 18, you better have a plan and get out of the house, and you're going to be on your own. And so there was no parental involvement in life,
Mhm.
certainly from adolescence on. Parents just kept their hands off. And I think that sort of set me up for, you know, really bad decisions, because how do you make a decision when you're 15 about what you're going to do to support yourself? And there was no support for college or anything like that. So I think that there's a degree of cluelessness. No matter what kind of family you're raised in, you just think it's normal. You
Mhm.
think that this is how families work, and maybe you get some insight, you know. If why are you anxious and depressed? Why have you made bad decisions? You talk to other people who say you were raised in a really odd situation, but you don't see it until that happens.
Is there ever anyone in terms of the third party that comes in a relationship to a family like this that the family welcomes with open arms and doesn't always keep it some sort of an arm's length? Can anyone ever fit that mold?
It would have to be somebody that goes completely along with the family story, that humors mom, if we're talking about mom or dad, and they don't ever have a difference of opinion. They show up for those Sunday dinners and they pat her on the back and say, "Sure, come in and control my children." And you know, you don't see people who are willing to do that, because that's
Mhm.
really unhealthy.
And there's a lot of roles that people end up playing in a family like this. It's not just, okay, mom is the leader, we must make mom happy. It's like bumblebees. It's like ants. Everybody has their role. They have to do certain things for this system to function. And if one gives up, if one doesn't do it right, well, then there's hell to pay. And we see the issues that then erupt within the family dynamic. We see it, you know, certainly here, probably with the Adelsons. Let's talk about those roles a little bit that the different characters in those families play.
Yeah, you have and again, it takes multiple kids to have the different
Mhm.
roles. Sometimes you can have the family try to, if they only have the one child, they try to, you know, make it happen. But you usually have the one that's there to comfort and rescue mom.
Mhm.
And that's sort of the family hero, the family nurse. They can do no wrong. They're the golden child because they say yes to everything and are there to meet mom's needs. And then you also have the family scapegoat, and that's the one that tries to individuate, doesn't see that their goal in life is to keep mom happy, and so everything gets blamed on them. And so you can see both of those dynamics in the family, but usually there's the hero and there's the scapegoat.
What about those situations where there aren't a bunch of kids? Can one take on multiple roles at the same time?
Yeah, and it may depend on the day or the week,
Mhm.
and you can see one person who sort of tries to, I mean, and this again, it's not conscious. They don't know that that's what they're doing, but they sort of bounce around between being the scapegoat, because families like this too, there's this projection process of what's really going on. And a lot of it is this enmeshed parent, the narcissistic parent, is projecting their pain outward. And so they're sort of picking on the kid who's not measuring up. Maybe they didn't get straight A's
Mhm.
that semester. And so the parent is, you know, using this as an excuse to project their own depression and anger.
how confusing is that for that kid? I mean, if you're going from scapegoat to being the loyalist to whatever, I mean, you're really having to pick the flavor of the day and guess the flavor of the day of the parent that you're trying to please. And if you're wrong, well, then there'll probably be hell to pay. But you're spinning that wheel every single time, hoping that you're meeting the need that they are not necessarily broadcasting that they need met.
These are anxious people. I think it really, I mean, they can be very depressed too, and have a very confused sense of who they are and who the parent is. But I see with folks raised in enmeshed families where they're trying to break away and trying to develop their own identity, a lot of anxiety, because as you said, they never know what they're going to get.
Anxiety, depression, I would imagine identity confusion comes from that sort of a dynamic.
Definitely. All of the above.
And we talked about how it affects, romantic relationships here. How take the mom out of the equation, take the dad out of the equation, whoever is the parent that is kind of leading the thing. If you're in that relationship and the mom or dad are not at the issue, does that person ever truly find a way to fit or feel comfortable in that outside relationship without mom or dad playing some sort of role? And if mom or dad, poo-poo it in some way, shape, or form, does that individual, can they stay in that relationship, or do they have to almost sabotage it themselves because it threatens that family bond that they came along with initially?
That's a great question. I recently saw, this one just popped into my head, a couple where this almost a Donald Adelson mother-in-law was a factor in tons of marital problems that they were having. And she lived in her son's head, right? So even if she wasn't physically present, they hadn't seen her voice was still very much alive in his head and influenced everything. And so he was living his life around trying to keep the mom in his head happy. But you know what? After both of those parents died in a short period of time, it's as if that lightened up, just the fact that they were dead, and his marriage improved. Everything got better for him. So I think sometimes, eventually they're going to die, and there's hope and life can improve. I mean, that sounds bad, doesn't it?
No, it does. Siobhan, it doesn't, because there is something so freeing about, this is going to sound bad. Holy crap.
Choose your words carefully.
Okay. Something about when the dirt hits the casket top.
You're just going right in.
I'm going in, baby. I am going in.
Siobhan, Stacy's going to need a call later on to work through some of this stuff.
Siobhan's already on speed dial.
It's not different than any other day.
But seriously, I had like the worst father in the world, and he fits everything that you were talking about. And he had a mother just like this. So when he passed away, there was just this humongous weight it felt like a physical weight had been lifted. And when I watched that casket get lowered into the ground, it was as though I was rising up as he was going down. It was the weirdest feeling, like, wow, the monster has died. And a couple months later, I was a new person. Like the thumb is off of me now. We're good.
I've heard that before. And when people have even teenagers who live with emotionally abusive parents and their parent dies, and I'm usually prepared for grief and this is going to be hard for them, but they come in and say, I'm free. I'm free. And you are going to have a heck of a memoir someday when you have time to write it. I want to hear all these stories.
Yeah. And, it makes me wonder, do you end up marrying somebody who fits that profile too? So there's another psychological aspect of it. If you are in one of these families, do you then gravitate towards somebody like that? I'm guessing you do.
Yeah, it's common. I think we've all had relationships where we were replicating something from our family of origin just because we don't realize that that's what's familiar about it. And we have a tendency as humans to go for the familiar and just to feel like this is the way it's supposed to be, which is why so many people marry abusive partners, because they had abusive parents and they don't have the radar to say, oh, this is not good.
Yeah. It's where abuse feels warm and fuzzy, because that's what you've been told it is for so long. And if you're that person, if you're the one that's the scapegoat, the one that's trying to fix things, the one that's trying to do that, you're always chasing something, and you're chasing, the emotions of that parent that you're trying to constantly heal with the bucket that's, you can never fix this. It's always leaking. It's never going to get better. But when that parent is gone, and when that's over, and as you were describing there, like, you feel free.
Yeah.
Is that dangerous? I mean, it feels like you're already been set up with not the greatest deck of cards to begin with to go play life with. So I would imagine there's a danger there when suddenly this thing you're constantly have been conditioned to be chasing around with the bucket for the drips of water, and suddenly it's not dripping anymore and they're not there. What do I do now? I mean, is there a heightened risk for people once that they've been removed from those situations to fall into addictive type behavior or anything like that, as they're trying to seek this emptiness they didn't know that they had in their life?
It sure could be. I think, well, I don't know, because I try to not say how it always is if I don't have data to support it. But it sure can be that there's a large percentage of people who are continuing to relive their childhood drama and try to right the wrongs and get the love that they never got. And so they choose partners that are similar to a suboptimal parent in certain ways, and then they try to fix it. They try to make it work, and it's almost like a compulsion. You can say people who have a love addiction or whatever, and they keep going to inappropriate people who don't treat them well, and it's almost like, I'm just trying to get it right this time.
It's almost like a mini cult in a lot of ways. Is there a lot of crossover in terms of cult-like thinking in an enmeshed family and kind of a more micro level?
Yeah, because you don't question the leader in a cult. You live in this alternate reality with a very strong mythology, and you go along with whatever the leader says because the leader is all powerful. And that creates this sense of loyalty, that loyalty to the group above all, even if it involves some scary, weird behavior.
Yeah, I mean, and it seems to, especially in the Adelson case, I mean, if everything is correct and the allegations are true against Donna and such, it's high stakes loyalty. It's not just, mom said some mean things and now we're gonna, stand up for mom and pretend she didn't say him or this or that. I mean, this goes to, lifelong incarceration. Why is it that some family members are willing to go that far, cover up criminal behavior for someone else, put their own lives on the line? And others are like, nope, that's the line I'm not going to cross, but that ends up being the line.
Isn't it weird? That's the thing, that when it came to actually murdering somebody, that the ethics didn't kick in. And it makes me wonder, what was it like to grow up in a home with Donna Adelson? I mean, if we could have, hidden camera footage for, when this lady was challenged, what did she do? I think it had to be pretty extreme. It's as you say, to stoop to the loss of all ethics is really, really unusual. I mean, we see a lot of enmeshed families, but you don't see this.
We saw, we talked about it last hour, some of the writing that Donna did in prison to it ended up being a jailhouse snitch that testified against her in court, talking and playing her up. You're this wonderful person. You're this, you're that, you're all this and sunshine and rainbows. And I can give you a grand piano and I'll do this for you and I'll do that for you. And obviously all ethics out the window, but you just have to say this. You have to tell people, this is the story I need you to tell. And down to like detail, like say it like this, say these words, say this person said that. She's literally, Donna allegedly writing the script of what she wants this woman to testify to in court. Do you think that's all that different of the dynamic that she probably had with Wendy as well?
No.
Here's what I want you to do.
Yeah, and this is probably her interpersonal style with all the kids growing up, is writing the script for them about how they talk to their teachers, how they did in school. It was control, control, control. And, you know, as you said, is Wendy at age 35 trusted to drive a car? I mean, yeah, over manipulative to just the nth degree here. And, you know, again, what kind of criminal mind was she to put all this in writing, her own handwriting? I mean, that just struck me as weird and obviously not very savvy about jail culture. So.
Well, she even referred to the woman that she was talking to as her jail daughter, which I thought was even creepy. It was like, oh, you're just, you're going to say whatever you need to.
Totally manipulating her, right? Because that's certainly, when people are incarcerated, a time of vulnerability for them emotionally. And it's almost like she was preying on that with her.
How much do you think this reads to a jury? I mean, it probably depends where one is from to a certain extent. But are people in general good at identifying this outside of their world? If you were to sit there and see this happening in another family like the Adelsons, obviously we're studying it every day, so it's very easy to see. But are people better at recognizing this outside of their circle than inside of their circle? Like maybe someone came from an enmeshed family, but are you still good at identifying when it's toxic out there, not necessarily inside of your circle?
I think that any normal person, hopefully you got normal people on the jury, would be looking at this and thinking, yeah, this is all way off. This is weird. There's a lot wrong in this picture here. I certainly would be going that way on the jury. And I think it's such an extreme case that there's no way this is not going to have a big impact on them.
No, it's going to be fascinating to see where this all ends, and really where all of these characters end up at the end of the day. We got I'm just reading some of the comments here. I wonder how many of her kids' science projects were actually completed entirely by Donna.
That was beautiful.
And she wrote their essays probably in college too.
Another one, Kate says, I'm studying forensic psychology. Donna Adelson is someone I would love to interview and or study, especially with the mindset and the perspective of reality that she has. Yeah,
she would be a victim, definitely, how unfairly she's been treated.
How do you think the future holds? Let's assume Donna's going to be in prison here for the rest of her life, because it looks like it's probably going to happen. There's no more bribing. There's no more, you do this for me and testify this way. It's going to be great. How is she going to survive? What is the next 10, 15 years of Donna's existence look like behind bars?
I don't imagine she's going to thrive, but she is probably a person that will always have a way of manipulating and getting attention. And it may be this style of trying to maneuver and gain favor by mothering people, with this pseudo, I really care about you stuff. That could be a lot of it. And I would think a person of her age with her pre-existing, let's say, psychological vulnerabilities, which is what this narcissism is all covering up, right? She's probably going to be on some psych meds, and she's not sleeping well, and so I would think the deterioration, I would be surprised if she made it 15 more years. Not that I'm wishing her death, but but it's going to be rough on her.
Do you think she's going to make a family in prison and resume her role, but just within the confines of prison? Is there a chance of her becoming, well, making people her bitches? I mean, just because that's the role that she's used to. So instead of cowering in the corner and woe is me, I can't do what I used to do, could she become the monster that she is on the outside? Could she do that on the inside?
She sure could. She's got that style of manipulation and grandiosity, and obviously with the letter that we saw that she wrote, manipulating people's needs. So yeah, that's definitely something that would not surprise me, that would be a style. I mean, she doesn't know how to relate to people in any other way.
Right.
Wonder how many phone calls Harvey's going to be getting. Harvey, you need to put money in this woman's canteen over here. Yes. And how much of that's going to actually go through before Harvey's like, I'm good. I
loved her promising veneers to the one woman. It's like, Harvey will do your teeth for you.
Harvey will get you some veneers. He's just going to come in here on the weekend and get those in for you. The promises.
Pianos.
Yes.
Yeah. And the key is that it's made out of piano keys.
That's there you go.
That's how they're getting it all done for it. The enmeshed family and that of Donna Adelson. Fascinating subject, and I'm sure one that hits closer to home for a lot of people than a lot of people want to admit. But there you go. The more you want, the more you know, the more you understand about it, the better you can navigate it, is what I always believe. Siobhan Scott, as always, thank you for coming on. I want to grab your book over here and show it off. Here we go. Both of them, The Minds of Mass Killers. You can get it wherever you get books, and also your memoir, Nightbird, also available wherever books are sold right now. Do go and check that out. All right, that's going to wrap up today's program of Hidden Killers Live. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to press subscribe wherever you're downloading podcasts so you don't miss any of our coverage of the many cases we're covering for you right here at the Hidden Killers Podcast and True Crime Today. For all of us, I'm Tony Bruschi. We will talk again real soon.
Want more on this case and others? Then press subscribe now and don't miss a moment of true crime coverage from Tony Bruschi and the Hidden Killers Podcast.